do that every time I'm on Zoom. Hi, Jamie Lynn.
So I watched most of your training, by the way, Christy, yesterday.
Yes.
I got through half of it, and then I have those core questions. I definitely been ruminating, but questions I think I've been asking myself since I started Mastery, but
I know. And then sometimes it helps to hear them like a different way. Cause I mean, it's not like inventing anything new under the sun.
for sure.
But everybody who wrote me an email back with the answer, I tried to reply back. And a couple of the people, I asked them a specific question. Instead of asking like, what problem do you solve? I like even better the question of like, what problem do you see that you want to solve? Because then that like taps into that feeling that you have that gets you excited. And it's way more like direct than like, I want to help people lose weight and feel better. Like, it's like, what you see is wrong. And like,
what's helping me is like kind of going back to the emotions I had in the beginning of my journey, like years ago. But it's funny, like now I feel like I have solutions, but I'm like, who am I? I know who I'm helping, but it's,
Yeah. Yes. All right. Well, let me see if I've got anybody else waiting. This is going to be a very popular replay training is what I've learned, because there was like quadruple the people on the replay than are live, but you guys get the bonus of being live. And I like the live conversations because you get to really be the guinea pig. Like we get to chat about your stuff. And that helps everybody who catches the replay. So I'm grateful for everybody's time, regardless of how you show up. But we are going to start here soon because I want to keep this like to a 45-minute training. When I do 3-day workshops, 45 minutes is that like magic window of really being able to dive deep into a topic, but then walking away with clarity of like, okay, I need to solve this one thing, or I need to think through this one concept and not having it be this enormous situation. So yesterday we really did hit on, I mean, I told you the day was how you are going to, build your product suite, right? With your unique offer, but you cannot do that unless you know your method and you know how you solve problems for someone, who that someone is, and can you speak their language? And so that's what we talked about yesterday. We kind of broke it down. What problem do you want to solve? How can you solve it? Why you? And then can you say it in a way that actually eases their concerns, not just the way that you understand you're going to help them. And then as you create your method, your point A, point B, point C, point D, like I'm going to take you this direction, that is where you attach your products. So if I didn't tell you that yesterday, that is what you get to do, right? If you have a method that has 4 steps or 4 phases or 4 whatevers, then there should be some piece of what you do inserted into each one. Maybe phase 1 is a challenge. Maybe phase 2 is an 8-week program. Maybe phase 3 is one-on-one coaching. Maybe phase 4 is, a group sustainability thing. Maybe it looks something different. Maybe phase 1 is an ebook, like maybe phase 2 is a whatever. But once you have done your method and you have built it out for your person, then you can attach the things to it. Today, we are going to build on this by talking together about how you generate leads, how you find people. Like if I have to like re-say what this is, how do you find people who want your unique program or service or coaching? How do you find them? That's what generate leads mean. It means like you're standing in front of this epic room of people and some portion of those raise their hand and say, yeah, maybe me. Like maybe me, I might be interested. That's a lead. They haven't bought anything yet. They've just raised their hand and said, tell me more, like send me the thing. I do want your free thing. I do want to hear about this. I am interested, I am interested, comment. I am, they're basically just distinguishing themselves from the mass of people out there that they are a lead, somebody who wants to talk to you. Technically, I feel like a lead probably should be captured in a real way, like either in your Facebook group or via email, because then you actually can communicate with them long-term. But if you go online and you Google like how to generate leads, you might as well Google like how to lose weight fast. It's the same. It's basically the same. And be prepared that if you were to Google like how to generate leads, you are about to be the target of so much bullshit directed at you via ads. So don't do it. I just wanted to kind of give you this parallel of it's the same. Everybody is looking for a strategy, a quick fix, a thing, a super secret sauce that's going to work for them, or somebody who's going to do it for them. That's like the Google search version of how to generate leads. And so I tell you that because this is going to feel a little bit like today, like eat your vegetables, go for a walk, and, don't eat buffalo wings at every meal. Like you're going to be like, wait a minute, like, is that really how you generate leads? But yes. And in fact, I think what I'm going to share with you today, these 3 strategies or 3 ways to generate leads are far more effective than any strategy or hack or let me try this thing to generate leads. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot try things. I think there is a time and place for creativity or for like something that you've seen work, and you're like, I'm going to do that and see if it generates leads. There is a time and place for paid traffic, even, we're going to pay for leads. I'm not saying that that stuff is bad. I'm just saying that this stuff is actually what you need to do. This is the eat your vegetables, go for a walk and stop eating garbage advice for how to generate leads for your business. But you cannot do this until you've done day 1 stuff, because why you want to generate leads that aren't your person, that you won't be able to tell how you can help them. So you got to think through that stuff, even if it's just your best attempt. So we're going to go through 3 ways to generate leads. Your homework at the end of this training, or if you're catching the replay, you do have homework. You're going to get an email from me just like yesterday, and I would love for you to respond. If you respond to me, I will respond back with feedback. I hit everybody back who I got emails from today. And so I want to hear your answer to this. And so that only helps you. Plus it's accountability, right? Like at the end of the day, if you take the time to do that, you're creating an accountability structure for yourself to be successful. So how do you generate leads? Step 1 is to take actions that put yourself in front of your person. So I'm going to say it again, because the language around this is really important. I picked this language specifically. Take actions that put yourself in front of your ideal person. So it's not a passive thing. This is you doing something. Why hasn't anybody messaged me? Like, why hasn't anybody applied for coaching? Why don't I have any new people to talk to? We want to be active. So what are some examples of like taking actions that put yourself in front of your ideal person? I'll give you a couple and then I would love to brainstorm them, but doing a seminar or a talk where you volunteer your time and go to a gym or go to a yoga studio or go to the restaurant down the street, anywhere, you do a talk or a seminar on a subject that fits with your problem that you solve and your solution. You can write blog articles. This is where I started. Actually, I started with both of these back before Fit Me, before I had a big client roster, any of those things, or it doesn't, none of this changes. You start with creating these kind of actions. And so I started writing a blog. I was a brand new baby nutrition coach. So my blogs, they were just like my best attempt, and nobody was going to my website, but I started writing them so that I could put them in front of people. I could share them, and then that way I could have conversations. I started a podcast. I started doing volunteer things at gyms and with challenges at my gym. I remember I put together a challenge for my CrossFit gym, a nutrition challenge. It was my very first one I ever put together, but I volunteered to do it. I started doing Facebook Lives. All of these things were ways to generate leads, and they still are. This is exactly the same way that you generate leads, regardless of the size of your business, without a strategy. But all of these are very action oriented. You can think about it all you want, but at the end of the day, you actually have to do them. And when you put yourself in front of people, which is the step one of today, you're going to be able to start to talk to them. You're sharing something, whether you wrote that blog, whether you're doing a talk, whether you are doing a podcast, like whatever it is, you are talking, and it should be a conversation. There should be some kind of back and forth. If you ever are stumped on how to do a seminar or a talk, my absolute favorite thing to do is to open with, like, why did you come here? I just ask people, why are they here? And I put a whiteboard behind me and I just start to jot down, what are some of the things that you have questions about regarding nutrition and exercise? Like, what can I answer for you today? And I start that way. And I write down everything that they say. And then even though I've come prepared with, a 15-minute presentation, I tailor everything around what they asked and I make it a conversation. So how to generate leads is taking these kinds of actions. And I want to break it down for you strategically. These should be put into your calendar. So if you don't have a next seminar booked, then you've got homework to do. You should be speaking in front of someone somewhere, even if it's 4 or 5 people. I've done seminars for 200 people and I've done talks for 2 people. It's fine, but you should have them scheduled. So you can talk about them. I'm going to be talking in front of blah, blah, blah about this. This is opportunities for leads. And what's so funny about each of these is I don't want you to think about these as transactional. My good friend and mentor, Jason Phillips, always talks about this, that we shouldn't be transactional with these things. This is how I want you to think about these actions. It's not do a blog article so that someone DMs you immediately after and says, sign me up for coaching. That's not usually how it works. But the action that you took to write it, and then the conversation around it, that is what leads you to future clients. Same thing with a seminar. Maybe you go to the seminar and you have this feeling like, oh, I'm going to go do a seminar and I'm going to get 3 clients at the end of it. That's very transactional. I don't want you to think about it like that. What I want you to think about is the week leading up to the seminar, you should be talking about it on your Instagram. I'm getting ready to go to blah, blah, blah gym, and we're going to talk about like healthy habits, or we're going to talk about my weight loss strategy, or we're going to talk about how to have a better mindset with whatever. So you're kind of hyping it up. Excuse me. Then you go, you take a couple pictures, you do the thing. Yes, if you get clients, great. Those people are going to stay in your world for a long time. And then you talk about it after the fact. So you have just created an action that is worthy of talking about. You've done something. So your homework, your very first piece of homework after this call is to tell me 3 actions you are going to do in the month of September to generate leads, and they should be scheduled. So if you are going to do a seminar, I would love to know where, when, what you're going to talk about. If you haven't ever done one, then tell me that you're going to reach out and ask. That can be your action. Reach out to someone and say, can I do a seminar for you and your people? If you're going to write a blog article, give me a deadline. If you're going to start a podcast or ask to be on someone's podcast, tell me you're going to do that, who it is, and when you're going to do it. So I want specifics. And so I want you to pick 3 actions that you're going to do by the end of the month. Does anybody have questions on this very first part, like how to generate leads, taking action that puts yourself in front of your ideal person? Hold on, you're muted.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to do what I feel like I usually do and make it seem like it's a bigger issue than it is, or make it seem macro versus micro. Can it be something as simple as doing like an Instagram live if that's not something you usually do?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. 'Cause I'm thinking like, oh, I have to do a seminar. It's like, maybe I don't have to go that big.
No, and you don't have to go that big, but I think it should still be a thing worthy of talking about. So if you're going to do a live like on Friday, then tell everybody I'm going to do a live on Friday on blah, blah, blah. it's at 4 o'clock, you know? So you can, I think on Instagram, you can even like set, I'm not sure if you can. I know on Facebook you can like schedule a live. And so people actually get notified to like look for it, but I'm not sure if you can do that on Instagram. But yeah, absolutely. It doesn't have to be you taking your brand new baby to a gym full of people. Good question. Any other questions about this?
Yeah, I had a question, Christy.
Sure.
So love the idea of seminars. I've done a very mini one. One of my clients like told her what I was starting to do. I came to her workplace, talked to like maybe 5 people. It was a good experience. I think since I'm working at home a lot on this, if I, and I'm also in a new city for myself, so I don't know as many people. I have a gym I train once at. I feel like that's going to be maybe a starting point. But do you have some recommendations on how you would propose it to somebody that you don't really have a relationship with too much? Because that's kind of where I'm coming from, is I don't know these people too well that I'm starting to connect with. And I think that's my mental hesitation on it.
Mm-hmm. What I would do is I would come up with a talk that would serve their people and be in their interest. So if it's a yoga studio, for example, like you have a yoga studio down the street, well, then you can talk about how, like, you can tell them that you want to do a a seminar on how like stress management, helps you lose weight and, so you tailor it to that person so that when you go to the yoga owner, you can say like, hey, I'm so-and-so. I know we've never met before. I'm a nutrition coach. I work here and I live locally. I do most of my stuff online, but I want to connect with my local community. And I would love to do a seminar for you. No strings attached. I just want to talk about these things. I think they would benefit your clientele. And like, I would love for us to have a relationship to work together so that I could send people your way, and if you ever know anybody that's looking for this, you could send them my way. So you're just like relationship building.
Yeah. Okay. And that's kind of maybe the way I need to look at it versus like, let me just do a seminar in front of your client base. Cause that's how I'm afraid of coming across, and like, let me have access to people of relationships you've built versus like, let me provide value. And I'm just new to like wording that in my head because I'm a master overthinker. So
mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good question though. And honestly, it is uncomfortable, even if you word it really well. But that's like that uncomfortable action that puts you in front of people. Like they could say no and they could be like, what? Get out of here. Like they could just, they could do that. But if you have a list of 10, you're probably going to get 4 or 5 that are like, heck yeah. Like I was looking up some nonsense for nutrition. So I'm super glad to have somebody who's local come and do it.
Okay, cool.
And some people are down for virtual seminars. So I do approximately 2 I try to create 2 of these per month for me in some capacity, whether it is in person or online. And again, that's not it doesn't always work out every single month, but both of mine this month are online. I'm doing a seminar for like, I don't know, like the state of California's like environmental something. They just needed a nutrition and like health workshop, and it was a referral and they invited me. So I'm like, dunzo. And then I did a virtual one for our local hospital on pregnancy and postpartum nutrition. So you can do them virtual too, but you still have to seek out those relationships.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Hi, Hannah and Jonah. Good to see you guys. You've only missed part 1 of the 3 ways to generate leads, which was to take actions that put yourself in front of your person, but you can catch the replay of this beginning part. So the second component of this is, and again, this is more of like eat your vegetables. You're going to be like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. But this is how it's done, is when you put yourself in front of the people that are your ideal clients, you have to make offers. You have to. You should ask yourself every day, have I made an offer today to someone? And this can be a mixture of free and paid. It's not like every day you have to ask yourself, that I like try to sell something today. No, But if you put yourself in front of people, whether that is a Facebook Live, an Instagram Live, a seminar, a podcast, whatever, like all of the ways that we just talked about, you proactively taking action, there should be something associated with it where in the course of the conversations that you're having with your ideal person, you offer something. Otherwise, it's kind of weird. It's like you're feeling like tiptoeing around it. If you ever need anything, just reach out. Bye. Like, it's okay to offer. Would you like it if I sent you my free grocery list? That's an offer. That's a direct, like, would it be helpful for you if I sent over my free grocery list? Hey, would it be helpful for you if we did a 20-minute consult and chatted about your goals? Hey, would you like to be in my 30-day program that starts on Monday? Based on what you told me, it made me think of you. I think you'd be a good fit. Like, none of that is weird. But if you're having conversations where you've put yourself in front of people, you have to be thinking to yourself, make offers. Does that make sense? Again, this can be an offer for your ebook, an offer for a PDF. It could be an offer to join your challenge. It could be an offer to sign up for your coaching service, an offer for a consult call, an offer for like your opt-in, a free group. We've done this a lot of different ways in Fit Me. And I personally have always struggled with this one, which is why it is circled big on my list of how to generate leads, because I tend to be the like, bye, like, if you ever need anything, you know, I'm here. Like it was very weird for me to start proactively saying, would you like to do this? So I ripped this Band-Aid off one of the first times I was selling my Fit Me Habits program. So this is the first time, like it was an 8-week program and I had a goal of putting 40 people in it. And on the Friday night, it's supposed to start on Monday. So the Friday night before it was starting, I had 15 people, passively had 15 people. So they had just signed up. They saw my emails, they saw my posts. Maybe they'd been waiting for a long time. They signed up. And I remember talking to my coach, Jason, at the time. And I was like, I did pretty good. I mean, I guess that's all right for first go, 15 people. And he was like, are you kidding me? Your group doesn't start till Monday. So you have all weekend to sell those remaining 25 spots. And I was like, holy crap, like how on earth will I do this? Like, I don't have a clue in where those people are going to come from. So I took 25, I multiplied it by 10, and I got 250. I made a list of 250 people because I thought, okay, well, if I can get 1 in 10 to do it, then I'll hit my target. I made a list of 250 people and I sent each one of them an individual offer. And it was very like me, I guess. I didn't have any sales skills. So it was just me saying, hey, so-and-so, I saw that you blah, blah, blah. Like, remember when we talked about this? I have a program starting on Monday. I thought of you. If you're interested, would you like me to send you details? Like, it was just a very organic offer. It wasn't weird. And I crushed my goal. So I filled all 25 spots. We had 40 people in the program. I mean, this is like a good rule for sales too, that obviously like you have to be proactive about it, but it's the same with making offers. Learning that language was just me doing a lot of repetitions around it. And that ripped that Band-Aid off for me because that was way harder. Will you sign up and give me money for my program? That's the hardest offer. So everything else under that's easy. Would you like me to send you this free guide? Would you like to be in the free group? Would you like to join the challenge? Those kind of offers are less. Who struggles with the make offers part? Nice. Okay. 2 at least. And you have to have something to offer, right? So that's kind of a given. That's sort of what we were talking about yesterday. Jamie Lynn says thumbs up. Yes. So you have to have something to offer. And that's where your programs fit in, or your freebies, or your method, right? Like imagine if, again, Joe the painter, and he has a, painting house assessment. So you identify yourself as a lead, maybe somehow, some way, you're like wandering through the paint store. He sees you in there and he comes up to you and he's like, hey, I see that you're looking for paint. I'm a painter. Would you like to have my free, like, see if your house would be awesome paint pamphlet? Like, He's just offering me something that is a part of his system. And maybe this is like the step one of his assessment, you know? And I think we think that that's weird, but you can just say, no, thank you. And so can someone else. But if you're also just wandering around wishing that somebody would fucking help you, and then somebody makes you an offer, you're happy. You're not pissed. And so people can tell you no, thank you. And that's okay. And you should get comfortable with hearing no, thank you when you make offers. Because if you make enough offers, they're going to say no. And that's totally fine. Any other thoughts about the make the offer part? I have make offers written on my whiteboard underlined so I can remind myself to do this. Sweet. All right. Step one, take actions that put yourself in front of your ideal person. Step two, make offers. And these offers should have some value to them. Your time is valuable. Your freebies are valuable. Your programs are valuable. It should be a value given offer. Step three, I feel like I actually kind of sucked or still suck at all of these, and I'm constantly working at them. And this one in particular has recently been illuminated to me as something that I need to actively work hard at improving at. And so I'm going to guess that you are too, which is if you want to generate leads, you actually have to talk about your method and how it works. You have to talk about it every day. Every day. So once you have developed your 4-phase system or your 3-step process or your checklist or your success stories or your assessment or your sustainability plan or your whatever, you should insert information about that every day into something that you're talking about. It can just be a small one-liner reference in a post. You don't have to talk about the entire method. That's probably overwhelming for people in just like one bullet. But say, for example, you want to talk about your assessment and why it's so helpful. Or maybe you're doing a post on reverse dieting and you talk about, hey, this is why in my program we do blah, blah, blah. Here, this is why we do it. Or, hey, so-and-so just had these results after she finished phase 3. She was able to go on all summer trip to Europe and gain 0 weight. Why? Because she's in my phase 4 sustainability plan. Wouldn't it be nice if you could like vacay for 3 months and not gain weight? Like if you talk about it, then people will want to know more about it and they will ask you. That is how you generate leads. Here on my computer, where I'm a Post-it girl, so I Post-its literally everywhere in my office. This. Talk about yo shit. From my new friend Shantae, Movement Maestro. She sends that to me. Who does a good, do any of you guys feel like you do a good job with this one? This number 3, talk about your method and how it works. Nope, not yet. That's good. That's Jamie Lynn's thumbs up and thumbs down make me laugh. Have you ever, it doesn't have to be in our space. So I want you to think even outside of nutrition and fitness. Can you think of an example of somebody or some business that talks about their method and has made you interested?
I can share.
Okay. Yeah, Katie.
It's kind of funny because I do this at work. I talk about our teaching methods and why you should have our hospital teach you these classes all the time, like to people all the time. But I cannot talk about my business and my method at all. But damn if I can't sell a PALS or a CPR class.
Why do you talk about your hospital's program?
I believe in it. I think it's really good. I think that there's a benefit to having our nurses and paramedics teach these classes. I think that they're experts in their field. And I think that people benefit from learning from them.
Mm-hmm. Do you have that same confidence and belief in your program?
I think what I'm realizing through your seminar right now is that I don't know that I really know what my program is. Mm-hmm. Like I only have 5 clients because I just started 3 months ago. Right. So each of them does something a little vaguely different. which I think is okay because there's only 5 of them. But if I wanted more, they would need to do more of the same thing, right? Because it's not sustainable for everybody to do something different. I don't have a system to be confident in.
When you're first starting out, you may not know exactly what your like method for results will become because you haven't done enough coaching reps to really be like, well, this is the way that I see the universe. And so I'm going to build something like this. But you should have confidence in some version of a method, right? Even if you're just starting out. So if you are just starting out, you should have some sort of intake process for sure. So that can be your stand-in. That gets to be your first phase right now. Like getting a really good understanding of someone's background is important for you to help them be successful. So even if you're not sure yet, that can be phase 1. And because of your medical background, because you're paramedic, you actually can speak to why that's so important. Like getting someone's background. So then you can think, well, what happens after that? Well, you do a phone call and you make a game plan and it's personalized to that person. You've already asked me a bunch of questions about your people because you're trying to come up with a personalized approach. And so that can be your step 2 is we develop a personalized approach for you. Sorry, my kid is like writing me text messages and handing them to me. This is like manual text. Dad's picking you up. Tell Dad that he is picking you up. I've never had someone text me and then hand it to me. He has bypassed technology to do it the manual way with technology. Does that make sense, Katie? So you can, if you've been thoughtful about each of those steps that you do have in place, that can be what you talk about for now.
Okay. That's fair.
Anybody else have thoughts or questions on this part, this talking about what you do and how you do it?
Yeah, so I just put it in the chat too. And sometimes I get confused if talking about your method gets too much in the weeds of like how you're getting results. And I don't know if it's like, yeah, I just kind of would like some clarity on that.
Yeah, that's a really great question because like if somebody is like, hey, I'm interested in your program, tell me about it. And you start to like go down some rabbit hole of like, oh, we're going to do check-ins and you're going to have a tracker and you're going to have a whatever, you're going to miss it because they're not getting to tell you what they're looking for. You're not identifying their pain points. You're not, giving them the path and what's possible for them. You're going to overwhelm them with the weeds and you don't even know what they want. So in that kind of setting, it is like, you are still going to talk about your method, but that only after they have done their part. So you need to be asking all of those kind of questions first. So the way that I do my sales calls, I always structure them exactly the same. It's like 1 to 2 minutes of like nonsense talk, and then 15 minutes of me asking questions and not talking, just listening and finding out the answers. And then I get 3 to 5 minutes to connect what I've just heard to my method and how we're going to get results. So that's kind of where it falls in. So it matters where. But if you are making an Instagram post, you're doing a Facebook Live, you are doing a seminar, you are whatever, then you dropping in like, hey, I just got off a consult call. It's really important that we do these consult calls because we always make sure that we're a right fit with someone. In fact, we just told someone yesterday that they're not the right fit for us and we refunded their money because turns out like they signed up right away and we want to make sure that we can actually do what you need and we'll refer you out. So you're talking about your method in a way that somebody would be like, oh, well, now I feel safe having a conversation with them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like showing, which is tricky as an online coach. I feel like if you're like an in-person personal trainer, showing your method is just a little bit more obvious. That's why boot camp class is easy to sell. Because if you just show a couple pictures of people doing battle ropes and box jumps and sweaty and smiling, people sign up. They see it. They understand. But online coaching is tricky. You've got to figure out how to show people what it is that you do and how it's going to help them so that they can see themselves in that spot. Oh man, I wish I had a weekly check-in with somebody. Like, oh man, I wish somebody had helped me do a pantry audit. So if you do a pantry audit with your clients, well, then that should be like something you talk about and even share publicly. Like, we're going to do this one together. Does that kind of help the difference, Hannah? Okay. Yay. Sweet. So we covered 3 things, and then I don't want to wrap up this conversation yet. But I just want to summarize them. How to generate leads is not that sexy. So don't Google how to generate leads and all the like sales craziness of like, let me help you generate blah, blah, blah leads. And, you know, all of this, that's like how to lose weight fast. That's what that is. So doing these things are the gold standard. This is eating healthy, moving every day, drinking your water. This is how you do it. And the more consistent that you do it and the better your systems are around it, the more effective it will be. And so the 3 things are the take actions that put yourself in front of your ideal person, make offers to them, both a combo of free and paid, depending on the setting, and then talk about your method and how it works. So the systems that I would recommend for you guys to put around that are, for step 1, to schedule them. Like I said, if you can schedule seminars, or if you can even just schedule asking for seminars, or if you can schedule lives, if you can schedule blog articles for yourself to write and publish them with a Facebook Live after it, schedule yourself like you're your own publicist. Like, that's what it needs to be. Miss Kreider, I've got you scheduled for 2 seminars this month and 1 interview on Facebook. How does that sound? Does that work for your schedule? Yes. You know, like that should be it. You've got your own publicist. Make offers. So you should have your ducks in a row here. You can't make offers unless you have this stuff. So that means have at least 1 free thing that you could send somebody, and you could build this in 1 day. Like, you can do a PDF, you can do a on Canva, you can make yourself a like cheat sheet, a handout, or whatever. This does not have to be like a month-long process of creating like the perfect opt-in or ebook or whatever. You just need something that is true to your method and true to the value that you provide. And if you don't have one, create one on Canva, export to PDF, you're done. Now it goes in an email, you're done with that. If you don't have a paid offer yet, or one that you feel good with, create one that fits in your method. So that way you've got your ducks in a row, you can make an offer. This includes being creative. So I didn't say this, but this has been a success. I don't know. It's like an uncomfortable thing that I do to myself that creates success. I don't know if there's a word for that. Is there like a better word for such a thing? Torture, like self-torture. When I feel stagnant and I don't have if I don't have leads coming in, and I know that I need to make offers, and I know that I need to take action, I will create something that doesn't exist and say that it starts on Monday. I do this to myself over and over and over again, and is very uncomfortable. It might not be your style, but it works. And again, it doesn't have to be something epic. When we didn't have, so we've used the free Fit Me Plate challenge for a long time. And it's really effective. And it's also it's very much in line with my method. So I don't really want it to go away. But what happened is people stopped playing. So I was like, I need to make a new thing that goes with this. So what do? Well, I just decided that I'm going to do a free group, like a personal, privately coached 7-day group. So I posted in the Facebook group, would anyone like to be in a free group with me for the next 7 days so we can do the plate challenge together? Boom, 11 people, 3 of them signed up as clients at the end of 7 days. So that didn't exist. I just made it up. I posted it before I could talk myself out of it. And then it happens. We tried to do it again. It didn't work as well the second time. I'll probably try it again in a couple of weeks and it'll work again. You can't do them all back to back. So when you have to get creative about making offers, make different offers. Just because you made the offer last month and it worked doesn't mean it's going to work again. You got to make a different offer. Any like online thing that you look at and you buy, they're like experts at this. They're making you offers in different ways all the time. And some of them hit and some of them don't. And you might have seen that offer last month and not done anything. And you see it a little bit different this month and you do it. So try different offers and it can still be like the same meat and potatoes, just packaged differently. And then the last piece is talk about your method. And the system that I would recommend around this is, again, have it written out, know the key points, what distinguishes you from somebody else. Why, what are the things that are different about your method that get you fired up, that you're excited about? Once you have a list of those things, just deliberately insert them into the content that you're doing. So if you've written an Instagram post and there's zero mention of the fact that you actually help people before you publish, just go ahead and find a place to insert it in there. If you're going to do a live, write a post-it and stick it on your forehead, in front of your thing so that you see it. Like tell them that you have a thing. That kind of thing. If you're going to show somebody a recipe, and you're going to do a video on it, make sure at the end you've got a little call to action where you're telling them, hey, I've got a blah, blah, blah. You should join us. So that's it. Those are our 3 for tonight on how to generate leads. Do you guys have any questions or anything you'd like to discuss before we wrap up?
I do. And it's kind of how to convert an offer to a sale. And I know it is like a process and you invest and you warm them up. But like what Joan and I do right now is like when they request to be in our Facebook group, we like have a question before they, it can be a minute of like, would you like this free nutrition guide? And then if they click yes, I go and DM them. I'm like, hey, what's your email address to send this to? Send it. And then I follow up a couple days after and I'm like, okay, did you have any questions? Did you read over it? And then sometimes they'll like have a full blown conversation with me in the DMs. And sometimes it's like, short questions, but I'm like trying to struggle on like how to ask and get them on a phone call.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that question is like, as though I planted you to ask that question, because that is what we're going to do tomorrow. So we're literally going to talk about how to like close those sales conversations. So you've made offers and now it's time to make a sale and have someone sign up as a client, and then how to continue that relationship and maximize value for them and yourself to keep them for a long time.
Perfect. Yeah, we will be there tomorrow then for sure.
Sweet. Yeah. If you can just hang on for one more day, that's going to be tomorrow's topic. Anybody else? Thoughts or questions? Are you excited to eat your vegetables?
I had a question for you, Christy.
Yeah.
When you since we're all told how to show up online and everything, would you say the biggest thing that really helped for you in terms of people really engaging with what you do and everything was really those in-person experiences? I know you talked about obviously seminars. Is that what you think really pulls people into what you do more than just that online, platform or Instagram?
I think it was a combination for me, because when I was initially starting out, I did seek out opportunities for in-person. And I think that we should try, even if you live in a place that's super locked down, they're not doing seminars or something because of COVID. I think we should try, because even if it's just to create reps and practice talking in front of people, I think it's worth it. Now, the way that I feel like I created more connection with people online was I found 1 or 2 things that I could do every day. And I know I've talked about that in a couple places, but this really was the big difference maker for me. I was just kind of miscellaneously posting, it wasn't bad. It's just, it didn't create that same connection. I started doing 2 things every day, and that made all the difference. I started being in my Instagram story every day. I think I've been in my Instagram story every day for like years. And I shared both a mixture of like nonsense and like helpful real things like for coaching. But then I also about 2 years ago I started an email blog, and I sent that every day. And it was short, and it was like, a couple paragraphs, but it was real, and that created an online presence. So if you want to build an online relationships, then you have to be present daily. There's just no way around it.
For sure.
I don't know if
That's
that answers your question.
It does. It's like, it's kind of realizing that these small behaviors compound. It's just like figuring out what to put my energy in, because I've been dealing with a little bit of burnout recently, and figuring out where to direct my mind. And blogging resonates, that in-person stuff resonates. I just gotta maybe not get so sucked into the world of Facebook too, which is super important, but it's like I can only do so much in one day, and that's just kind of what rolls in my head.
Yeah, I think it is easy to get sucked into like, I have to be everywhere. And then you get burnout and you don't feel like it anymore. So maybe think of, if you can write a blog consistently, say once a week, because you like it and it's something you can commit to doing. And then you could be in person somewhere like twice a month. Your Instagram content can just feed that. It doesn't have to be all new stuff. And if you're doing that stuff consistently, that will work for you. You will generate leads.
Yeah. Something I started doing that, like another coach of mine, like we're just friends, and like we both benefited from it. Like we're doing like we do a recorded Zoom call, and then we talk different topics. We just post it on both of our feeds, and it just gets us into the habit of talking about this stuff with someone else. And so it's been good, kind of good practice to like just get your head in that mindset. And so we have a routine every Monday, we do that. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I have a book that I'm reading that you would like based off of what you just said. It's called Effortless.
Okay.
It's by Greg McKeown. He's the same author who wrote Essentialism. And
Greg McKeown, got it. Okay.
Yep. And it's so good. It's exactly what you just said, but he has this idea that we should have like bounds, almost like a minimum and a maximum that we do. And we should just live inside of that, because like that will be far more sustainable, especially for entrepreneurs. So if you, for example, have hourly bounds, maybe you say at a minimum, I'm going to work on my business for an hour every day, and maximum is 7. Like that's it. That's all I get. Or maybe it's minimum, like I'm going to write 5 pages a week, maximum I'm going to write 40. Like, so he suggests that what happens is we tend to feel like we get behind. So say you need to like, you get burnout. Well, then you unplug for 4 days. You're like, I need a break. And then when you come back, you're like, oh crap, I'm like behind on everything. So then you work extra hard for a bunch more time, and then you get behind again. And then you're burnout. And then it's just like this back and forth. And so his recommendation in this book, which I think is so accurate, is that you're actually far more effective to be sustained, like, and doable, and not necessarily be everywhere.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I like that a lot. Okay, I'll definitely look that up. Thank you.
So what I'm going to put in the email is I want to know what 3 actions you're going to take this month, in the month of September, to put yourself in front of your ideal person. I would love to know what you have, either what one free offer you have and one paid offer. You should have one of each, at least, that you could offer someone when you put yourself in front of them. And then I want to know, what is your favorite thing about your method? The thing that you get like jazzed about. And that way you can tell me, and that's practice for telling someone else. because like Katie said, she's like jazzed to tell everybody why they need to do CPR with her people. And so she's got to be like jazzed to tell them why they need to sign up for her coaching, because she specializes in bariatric patients who have gotten zero help from their doctors and just gotten surgery and been like, bye, good luck. And people really need to hear you. So
I just literally signed a bariatric surgeon as a client who feels like a major hypocrite and fraud.
well, maybe you can help him and then he'll help other people. He's a Ripple client. He's a good one.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So tomorrow, last day, we'll talk about how to close those sales conversations and maximize value for your clients and for you. And I will shoot out an email. And so hit me back with your responses and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Thanks, Christy.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah.
Christy.